we've been walking around for a few minutes now. The big event that happened this week. I don't even know where to really place it, but basically everybody knows that's listening that the Capitol building was raided by a large group of Donald Trump supporters.
As Joe called it, a mob.
Sorry, was it yesterday or was it Wednesday?
It was Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes. It was on Wednesday after a rally where the President of the United States egged a large group of people on. They raided the Capitol building, and the first picture I saw of it was the picture of the Secret Service agents in the Congress room.
With the Glocks out at the window?
With the desk pushed up against the door and then the guns pointed out. I was like, new Call of Duty zombie looks pretty nice.
No, like dead ass.
like they're like building the fucking like walls in the like. They're farming points.
No, literally, like
they're knifing
carpenter,
and putting.
bro.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
No, it's crazy. And then like, there's a video of Congress members on the second level hiding underneath their seats, like representatives hiding under their seats with their phones out, and they look over the ledge, and you can see where that picture is taken of the Secret Service agents at the door. And it is
my girl was up there praying.
Fucking
she
crazy.
Was praying down heaven.
I have two main complaints with this. Number one, if they looked like you or looked like you, there would have been a massacre.
They wouldn't even been able to make it to the Capitol. Let's start there. We also how it was.
It
like,
would have
that
been a
with Black Lives
bloodbath.
Matter.
Dude, the funniest thing I heard out of all of that was like y'all seen the tweet, right? It was like a frat boy saying, "Who do you know here?" Would have kept him out. That was so funny, bro.
I do think there are two things also that. So one, I do think that there was a bias towards a group of Trump supporters hitting the Capitol building. Definitely, since the sitting president really makes the decision whether or not to bring in military forces and how excessive to use violence. I do think that there was some bias in that. However, I also do believe that our politicians are okay with, like all of our politicians, no matter who they are, they're okay with sending the military out onto the streets to quell violence. They're okay with that because it's not happening in their place of work. It's not happening in their homes. Mm-hmm. But once they're inside of their offices, inside of their workplaces, they're taking their fucking staplers off the desk.
Literally, they were in Nancy Pelosi's desk, like looking through her papers.
I think they stole her hard drive.
What? But they weren't shot or arrested?
Well, yeah, I think that's the thing.
No sense.
I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense because it's like, do we want to, like, there's already the message that a group of, protesters stormed into our Capitol building and like tore shit up. Do we also want to send the message that once they did that, 30 people were shot in the Capitol building of the United States of America?
My thing is now, look, listen, it doesn't have to be the fact about you shooting them. You know what I'm saying? But for you to like I guess the thing that tickled me was the fact that you just freely letting them motherfuckers just walk
there were a
around.
ton of videos on Twitter of like the
4 people died.
One person.
4 people died.
Four?
Four people died. One of them.
One woman was shot.
Yeah, it was.
And 4 people ended up dying in total.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She was the one caught on camera. That's what, like, they kept it pretty quiet.
I don't know if it was that woman or another woman, but one of the people who died was from Kennesaw.
Really?
Yes.
No, people came from all around the country. How did they get there? That was my second concern. No, I can tell you all about it. My first concern was that they looked like you. There would have been a bloodbath. My second concern is that all these people defending it, saying, "Oh, we didn't see it coming. That's why we didn't have people lined up to protect."
Fuck that shit,
bro. They have been hyping this up for weeks.
Really?
Weeks. The president has been like, "Oh, January 6th is coming. Get ready to do all this stuff."
You know what I'm saying?
Like, all of it was hyped up even. It wasn't even like they knew it was coming. It was advertised. So what do you mean you didn't know it was coming? You could have protected it a little bit better.
A hell of a lot better, because when Black Lives Matter was doing the protest, you think
the National Guard was lined up everywhere.
You hear me? You think you were about to go into Battle Royale on Warzone, and they were all
Donald Trump was just like flexing his muscles on him. But once they're in the Senate, and I'm sure when they broke through the windows of the Capitol building, he was like, "Wait, shit, I might have egged this on a little too far."
They used a riot shield to break glass. Yeah. And
I think once they were in the building, he might have like thought to himself, like just a little bit. Like I'm sure. It was something where like he didn't care how far it went, but once he saw the actual results, I think he had a little bit of backtracking in his mind. He did come up with that video on Twitter like as it was happening, telling everyone to go home.
He came out with two.
A little too late.
It was the first video. He was like, "Guys, I love you. I love what you're doing."
Yeah.
He shouldn't have said that. Like, send them home and be strict.
Then he gonna try to add that little.
And then afterwards,
don't confess your love for a group.
Then he gonna say go home in peace at the end, like it's gonna clear all that shit up.
I do agree with you though what you said about how we should, because my dad brought up the same thing. If more people were shot or arrested, it would still be happening right now. There would be cars on fire.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if they actually like let a few rounds go, like it would have been such a bigger scene.
I do think that there should have been a greater police presence there, but I'm sure either whoever was in power, whoever was like jurisdiction over it, like they thought like they didn't think to actually put people up there. Maybe because they didn't actually think that his supporters would storm the Capitol, or because even if they did, they wouldn't really mind. Well, some sort of bias there that allowed it so there wasn't already a large presence surrounding the Capitol. And then when they got there, I think because there was just the normal staff of the White House and of the Capitol building, and I think they were told like, we can't, like, we have to be very careful about this. So just give up as much as you can, and then once we have like enough soldiers and officers to compensate, we can just like forcibly but peacefully like get them all out of the building, which only took a little over an hour. Once they broke through the glass, it only took over an hour, just over an hour for the entire building to be locked down and everyone to be thrust out back onto the lawn. And there was a lot of combativeness between the protesters and the police out on the steps of the Capitol, and eventually the police pushed them down onto the lawn, but the entire event was over in an afternoon, which
because DC mayor put out a curfew of
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yeah.
And
I applaud her for that. I really do applaud her for that. It can't be easy going through a situation like that.
I saw her.
And then yet again, African American woman in DC, and then you standing on national television telling them, I don't give a fuck who you is. You got to be home by 6 p.m. and if you're not, you getting arrested.
I was watching her live messages on a live stream I was watching, and she was talking about how she like every surrounding county in like Maryland and New York, like she listed off all the ones where they're sending like all their,
and they were helping
officers.
her out. Like
she's listed like 10 counties where she's like officers from this county, this county, this county, this county.
They weren't
all
playing
coming to the
games,
Capitol, and it was intimidating as fuck. I was like,
shit's sick as fuck, bro.
I mean, I think overall what we've been talking about, things could have been handled better on both ends.
Definitely,
the Trump people shouldn't have hyped up doing this, but I mean, like at the same time. Protest is protest. It's in the Bill of Rights.
But things could have been worse.
It could have been worse. My thing is with the African American community. Our thing is you don't have to shoot them. We weren't looking for you to give them the same equal treatment that you gave us during the time that we were protesting. I mean, even though it was unfair treatment, our thing is you should give us the same equal treatment that you gave them with during this time of protesting. You let someone.
Right.
We didn't even get to the Capitol, but you let a group of individuals raid the Capitol, right? A national monument, right?
Well, let us not.
Well, that's
forget.
what I was just saying was that if a Black Lives Matter protest got to the Capitol, I think it would have gone the exact same, because I think again they would have said we're not going to kill people in our Capitol building, and sure there could have been more force based on just the human element of these officers, like there have been throughout.
I get what you're saying, but when Jack was making the statement of how it's been advertised, okay, let's think about it like this: it's already been advertised that there was a protest, right?
What do you mean?
That it was going to be a whole entire thing going on in the Capitol. It was advertised. It was already known and it was already put out there. You know what I'm saying? But for you to take one group, and this is the confusion that some individuals have, I understand. But when you take one group and you have us protesting for lives, the value of life, the value of the African American community, not just us in general, but the equal treatment of everybody in the United States of America. See,
this is what I was about to bring up. Yes, Black Lives Matter is a thing.
Yeah,
people should protest that.
Yeah, definitely.
Let us not forget why the people who raided the Capitol Wednesday were protesting. They were protesting because they just didn't believe in election results.
But my thing
that's ridiculous.
That too. But then again, it's like you wouldn't even let us get that close to the Capitol before you started treating us as bad as you did. Before you started murdering, shooting, or brutally forcing us to the ground and throwing tear gas on us. You didn't let us get that far. But for you to let a whole other group already get to that destination, you already let it get to that extent, I can't do shit but sit here and look at you like you fucking crazy. Come on now.
Yeah, and I do think I am debating whether or not it was specifically like, because the Capitol, it is like the president's place of work for the most part, mostly Congress and the Senate. But like, I wonder if it was him who really, like, when they saw Trump supporters coming, like whoever was jurisdictioning the officers and the defenses there, if that was an element of it, or if it was just, or if that would have happened, not regardless, but like, I wonder if in a few weeks after the president's gone. Like if things like that, hopefully won't happen again, but
it shouldn't have happened in the first place
at all.
Do you know what I'm saying when I say that, like, okay, a group, a religion, a race, if they feel oppressed, they have the right to protest.
Definitely.
That's fine.
Yes.
But if you don't believe in your election results,
do you hear me?
Like what?
Like,
it's been recounted 3 times now. The election results,
and you still throwing a fit. Take the L, sit down.
Literally, they just can't
and let's
accept
move
it.
on.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is, and I was just talking to
you
Adam.
Can't protest fact.
I was just talking to Adam about that in the car. It's our nation, and I don't mean to get too political, but I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna shut the fuck up. But in honesty, too many people have voted for Trump. Too many people have shown that, you know what, regardless, I think it's okay that racism is normalized, or that, you know,
he's like a cultist leader.
Definitely, but for you to live where you live at, and for you to have so much background of our nation, of people coming from already other oppressed areas of the world, and they're coming to the United States because they say, oh my God, I have a shot here in this country where I can be the best version of myself possible. Yeah. I can start a family. But you have all of that, and you have other nations looking at us, and then you have Trump ass just sitting here like, you know.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because the thing on Wednesday was the last straw for a lot of his supporters.
Definitely.
He lost a lot of support, and even a lot of cabinet members and advisors resigned.
But I think at this point it's sort of kind of past Trump. Like, I mean, he was there. Don't get me wrong. He was there and he initiated it. He really brought it out of people. Yeah. But the fact that people felt comfortable enough to let the world see that this is who they are, this is how they feel. Like, come on now.
When I turned on the news Wednesday, my dad, it was like such a big deal. My dad was like, okay, come here, we get to watch TV.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is like a third world country type beat. Like, you don't see this here. You see this in, like, I don't even know where. I don't have an example. But, like, this is not something you would usually see.
Anywhere south of Mexico.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point.
It is.
Any Central American or South American
But
country.
we have a lot of work to do as a people in order to come together and get this nation back right. Like, too much wrong shit and irrational thinking has been normalized in this time period of Trump being in office, to now where people feel comfortable to continuously act out and act irrational.
I think it's ironic. Go ahead.
I think it is interesting to look into, because one, I think that the people that stormed the Capitol on Wednesday are definitely not representative of most of the people that voted for Donald Trump. I think it is very far to the extreme on that. And what we saw in the election when it comes to, like, kind of seeing how many votes Donald Trump got in the general election, when we look at his numbers when it comes to how many votes he got, in every ethnic and racial group in the country, he got more votes than he did last election cycle in every group except for specifically white men. He increased his votes among black voters, among Hispanic voters. It's not anything to say about
whitewashed black voters.
Okay.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
Sure. Well, and I think there's a lot to dive in there that we won't go right now, but there's a lot to dive in there about the reality of, like, the election and the dynamic between the two people, and how, you know, characters aside, there's still things that people vote for that either side supports, and it's all very convoluted and messed up as it currently stands. But I think that's something to get into, and I don't think it's a simple thing at all.
I just don't know what to say. Like, I was gonna say it's ironic. You brought up another thing to be irony about. It's ironic that his whole slogan was "Make America Great Again," when, like, it has gone. It's so polar and so toxic and just.
There's no other word I can think of.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten worse. What was interesting is that the Senate, so they were talking about their, like, the election vote, like whether or not to vote to recount the election votes. And then it happened. They all, went into lockdown. And then right after all the protesters were cleared from the building, they got right back into their meeting, like right back into it. They all sat back down. They, like, cleaned it up, and they kept voting. And most of the people who were voting to recount the election changed their vote to saying that they don't need to recount the election. But a few of them, namely, I think Cruz and the other guy's name I think is Hawley.
I just tweeted about that.
They kept they maintained their vote that it should be that the election should be recounted. But I think there was only 4 people out of all of the senators there that voted to recount it.
Well, not only were they voting to recount, they were also, like, when Mike Pence, or the vice president, I will say, the vice president always, like, opens up the letters like, oh, this state got this many electoral whatever. That is so ceremonial. It's the electoral college has already locked it in. Him announcing electoral vote counts is a ceremonial thing at best. Like when Trump was forcing Pence to be like, oh, just say I got more votes or whatever he was saying. I don't even remember. He can't do that legally. Like Mike Pence was like, I can't do that. So now all the Trump supporters are against Mike Pence. It's just like, what is happening?
Yeah. And then there was the call he made to Kelly Loeffler to, I forget exactly what the contents were, but it was something about recounting the votes.
She said she accepts the result now.
Yeah. She was one of the ones that switched.
Right.
And speaking on that, congratulations to John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock who won their elections.
You know who they owe it to? Stacey Abrams.
They really do because that lady worked her off to
got
make sure people.
Biden blue and she got both of them blue. I think everything is owed to her, personally. She's so weird looking. But the thing about Ted Cruz is he does not like Trump. You realize that, right? He hates him. The only reason he is in support of recounting and to get Trump is because everyone in Texas who he represents is a Trump supporter. So he wants their vote. If a Texas senator goes against Trump, that senator is going to lose votes. And Cruz knows that. Trump called Cruz's wife ugly, and they beef all the time. He doesn't like Trump at all. He just has to keep that to keep his votes.
However, now that after Wednesday's events, we've seen Mitch McConnell has completely pretty much turned back on Donald
Mitch
Trump.
McConnell?
Yes.
Bulldog looking guy. He's also turned completely away from Trump. Yeah.
Lindsey Graham as well.
Man,
that man's crazy.
But I applaud Mike, even though he should have stood up for Constitution.
He did.
Basically,
I'm saying even though he should have did it sooner, I mean, he did do a turnaround at the end.
So just to sort of wrap that thing up, what do you guys think? Well, I mean, not like what do you guys think, but Donald Trump is supposed to be kicked out by the 20th when the inauguration happens, right? But do you think he should be impeached before the 20th?
I think he should.
It's 12 days.
It's interesting. No, that's the thing. I'm thinking of the
it's a heavily talked about thing right now if they should kick him out because there's a good chance they can do it.
Well, I mean, yeah. So I think the first thing that came to mind was the practicalities. Like he's going to be gone in 12 days, so what does it matter? But then I kind of thought a little more about it, and I thought, it doesn't matter how long it is before the inauguration. It could be the day before. It could be the 19th, and he does something like this. And I still think that proceeding should go ahead because of that. Because I think it does set a precedent in the future. That
right.
I mean, how long does a process like that take to
Not as long as you think. They could do it. I mean, it's a while, but they could do it in 2 weeks if they really wanted to.
I think it would shift. They could start it, and it would shift. Like the inauguration would happen, and I think it would shift from like impeachment trials to like maybe some sort of criminal trial.
Let me sell you on why they should do it because I personally think I've thought about it a lot
cold
too.
Down here.
All right, Jack. Hold up. This is Trump.
Okay.
Sell me the impeachment.
All right. He should get impeached, kicked out, done for. He's already been impeached once.
Okay.
Let's keep that in mind, but he got out of it. Second impeachment will go through because if he just gets off, he's going to pardon himself and pardon everyone he's done shady dealings with. On top of that, he's going to hold his own rallies later on and just take donations. He might not run again. Even if he does, he'll use that money there. But if he doesn't run again, which I honestly don't think he will, he's going to hold rallies, charge people to come into, and just have them praise him. He will be getting paid to get praise. There needs to be a precedent set for that. That just can't be okay.
Yeah, presidential pardoning is fucked. Like it's just such a weird system.
He can pardon himself because once he's done, he's just a normal dude. He'll have Secret Service a couple more years, but once he's out, he's out. He's a normal citizen at that point. So he's going to pardon himself from everything he's done and hold rallies where people praise him, and he's charging them to praise him. That can't be okay.
Rockstar lifestyle, if you ask
No,
me.
literally, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, crazy guy, dude.
That's why
does he even need the money?